of their finances and careers in an unfriendly economic environment. Because we know right now, the economic state of Nigeria is not that friendly that, there's not, in the sense that there's not a lot of employment opportunities. And so we want to help you guys to find these opportunities so that you can make your source of income better. And so the goals for this webinar, one of the goals is we're going to share info about work and income earning opportunities that are bound online. So we're going to be giving you information about employment opportunities and work opportunities that you can apply for online. And then we're going to provide information on how you can take advantage of these opportunities and how to apply for these opportunities and stuff. And then we're going to discuss how to leverage technology for upward career and income mobility. So we're going to show you guys how to use the technology and mobile data that you have right now to better your source of income and move upwards in the technology field. And then we're also going to, we're trying to positively transform the narrative of, you have to be Yahoo to make money online, which is not true. You can make money online through legitimate sources, as a lot of our speakers are going to talk about today. And so just some general rules for the meeting so that we can have order and so that you can get the most out of this meeting. Please keep all your mics muted throughout the meeting. If you have a question, please, there's a button called raise hand. It's right there on your Zoom screen. So when you click that button, we'll see that you've raised your hand, and then whenever we have the chance, we'll get to you and ask what question you have, and then we'll answer the questions that you have. Or you can also type your questions in the chat box and leave your questions there, and we'll get to the questions. Also, please refrain from using the chat box for anything else that isn't related to this meeting, because then it would be hard to get to your specific questions, because we would have a bunch of messages that we'll have to go through in order to get to your questions. And then some disclaimers. So we're not going to exactly teach you tech skills. What we're going to do here is show you where you can learn these tech skills. Okay, so we're going to give you the opportunities. We're going to show you the links and everything, but we're not exactly teaching you like how to code or, engineering and stuff like that. And then we're not providing jobs for anyone. This is just giving you the opportunity to go, and we're going to give you the links. We're going to give you all these, and then you're going to go and look for the jobs yourself. So we'll equip you with the information you need, and then you can go ahead and look for the jobs by yourself. And lastly, in order to make, so there's this analogy. In order to catch a fish, you have to know, first of all, how to fish, where to fish, and then you can actually catch the fish. So in this webinar, we're going to be showing you where to fish. And then we will refer you to websites or resources that you can learn how to fish. We're not going to be teaching you how to fish. So you're going to go to those websites and learn the skills and resources that you need to be able to fish for the jobs that you want, the opportunities that you are interested in. And then it's up to you to actually catch those opportunities. So we'll equip you with information and everything, but it's up to you to get those opportunities. And so with that, I'll be turning the stage over to our first speaker, Auntie Chioma. And I call them auntie and uncle because they're older than me and I'm Nigerian. So, I have to be respectful. But Auntie Chioma is a software engineer with a history of working as a computer programmer in a university. And she's a Tech Women Fellow, which is a program of the US Department of State. She was mentored at Mozilla Corporation, Mountain View, California, in the US, here in the US. and she's passionate about EdTech and practical hands-on learning opportunities that equip learners with skills they need to excel. She's skilled in HTML, CSS, PHP, JavaScript, Angular JS, Java, and software development. And then she's also the president and founder of STEM Tiers Learn by Building Foundation. So, Auntie Chioma, I'm passing the stage over to you, ma.
Hello, everyone. Am I on? Okay, yeah. Thank you, Ore. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Mrs. Mercy. Thank you, Ore. Okay, okay, let me go straight to my slide. Share my screen. Okay, can you enable, I am disabled from sharing screen, or can you share the slide or enable me to share?
Oh, sorry, screen? I thought I made you the co-host already. Did you maybe leave and join again?
Okay, I think my Zoom, I went off and came back. I don't know what went wrong, just came.
It's okay, you can share now.
Yes. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, okay. Hello, everyone. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. My name is Chioma Chukwu, and yes, I'm a full stack software developer, an F ambassador, and for Nigeria, Techwomen Fellow, and also the founder of Learn by Building Foundation. So if I'm fast, just let me know. I'll just slow down. Okay. So thank you for having me. So I'll begin with talking about something Thomas Friedman, a book Thomas Friedman mentioned over a decade ago. About over 10 years ago, a man called Thomas Friedman wrote a book called The World is Flat. And in that book, he was talking about globalization and where globalization was taking the world to. And one of the factors he talked that will influence globalization was technology. And today, as of that time, it wasn't even, the influence was not this strong. But today we can see that technology has transformed the way we interface locally and where we interface globally. And today we'll be looking at how it has affected work, especially with a tool called the internet. Okay, so there are ways which technology has influenced making money. I'll just list a general overview of some of them, while we'll later go to the specific one for today. And we can see that local businesses can go global through their websites and apps. You could have an app right where in your locality, and if the app is solving a problem globally, the app, it takes your work or your company global automatically. If your website has something someone else in another part of the world needs, it takes you there automatically. And we can see there are financial transactions, payments can be done globally, anywhere. So people can actually exchange goods and services anywhere. International transportation also makes global business possible. Foreign exchange, popularly known as Forex, selling of digital assets, and more. Earning income online by working, freelancing, and selling your skills. This will be our focus today. And finally, earning through ads like YouTube. It's one way where people earn through ads. Blogging, also through ads, and affiliate marketing, and some other more social platforms that help you earn through ads, like Twitch, like Instagram. You could earn through ads. So today I'll be talking about two major online work type and platforms. And the first one is remote work. Now there's something called remote work, and there's also another one called freelance work. Now remote work, it could be full-time and it could be part-time, and I will explain better in the next slide. Then for freelance work, it could be hourly, contract, fixed contract, or service sales. That means you put your services or your skill set in plans or gigs. Or you could say this is a basic plan, this is a premium plan. Let me give an example. You want someone who wants to make an app with 2 pages. The app just have 2 pages. You say for 2 pages it's $10. If you want 5 pages, it's $25. If you want 10 pages, if you want 15 pages, I'll give you for $60. So these are gigs, like gigs in plans. You can actually group your skills, products or services in plans. Then for hourly, I want to go back to hourly. People earn hourly. You could earn $20 per hour, $30 per hour, $5 per hour, $100 per hour, depending on your contract terms and what you're offering to the client. Now, there are also fixed contracts where you say, I want to design. A client said, I want you to design a website for me, and you say, okay, everything. We agree on $1,000 for the whole work, for deliverables. So if I can also break it down. If I deliver the design page without the back end, it's $500. If I do everything, it's $1,000. So it's a fixed job. Now for hourly, you are timed, you are monitored, you have a timer app controlling your work and viewing whether you're active or not. But for the fixed job, you don't have that. You just have a place where you just submit your deliverables and you just deliver it, and that is it. You are paid if the client accepts the work as what he wants. Now, to the next slide, I'll talk briefly about remote work before I go back to freelancing. Now, remote work are like normal employment jobs, like a company employing someone physically. And like I said previously, it could be full-time and it could be part-time. Now, the good thing about remote jobs like this, you have the benefits of the organization. You have full benefits, family benefits, childcare sometimes, and all the benefits that comes with being a full-time employee. It's just as this time, you are not working physically at their office location. And the only challenge is that you can be controlled, timed. You have to log in your hours, log in the time you resumed, and all that. Many organizations want you to log in. Not all of them actually, but most of the time you are made to work maybe 40 hours per week, 30 hours per week, 20 hours per week, depending on your contract with them. But it's actually like a normal employee work. You are their staff. You are in their payroll. Now, and you are kind of restricted to them legally. You are kind of confined to them. Now, another thing I want to say about remote work is there are several websites that are dedicated to giving information about remote jobs. I'll just mention a few. There are other ones. One is LinkedIn.com. LinkedIn is a very popular one. I personally have received invitation for a remote job. Okay, not a remote job, a full job, a normal job, not a physical job, basically. But I also saw adverts of remote jobs that are full-time on LinkedIn. I even told them I wanted remote, not full-time physically. I've actually got invitations. So on LinkedIn, you can actually get both remote work and even freelance work on LinkedIn. Yes. Then there's a website called digitalnomad.world. They're actually strictly focused on remote jobs, not freelancing. There's We Work Remotely, one of my favorites. You get a lot of remote jobs there. And don't think it's only coding jobs. No, I've seen virtual assistant jobs in some of these platforms. I've seen HR jobs. I've seen accounting jobs. I've seen project management jobs, design jobs in some of these remote jobs organization. Indeed.com, Flex Jobs, Remote.io. There are others also. So you can just check them out. Or you could even Google and you see a whole list of platform that showcases remote jobs. Now, I'll talk more on freelancing because today we're talking about leveraging technology to diversify income. Now, freelancing, it's much more flexible for diversification. That means you could actually be working and still be freelancing, depending on your the kind of freelancing you want to do. So freelancing gives you the opportunity to diversify, unlike the normal full-time remote job. Now, freelancing is doing a job or being hired without commitments to the client's employer. So you can actually have a contract. You are not bound to them, even though there are terms and contracts if you fail or you do well. And there are no employee benefits. That's one of the downsides. There are no employee benefits, but you can be hired by so many clients at the same time. You could have 6, 7. I've seen people have up to 12 jobs at a time. Freelancing, yes. So freelancing gives you that opportunity to have more than one client. Can you hear me? Just let me be sure someone is following. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Freelancing also has some level of work time control. Now, even except for hourly contract, but even with all hourly contracts, if your client have an agreement that you can finish the job in 1 week, you can decide that the time you want to do your hourly work is at night. You can decide that it's going to be afternoon, maybe from 2 to 8. You can decide when you want to do it. So there's sales as gigs. So there's much more flexibility.
Auntie Chama, it looks like you froze. Auntie Chama, we can't hear you. Okay, I'm sure she's having some technical challenges. She will come back in. Please, let's just be patient a little. She will join again. All right, she's here. Okay, now please, can you unmute?
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. Okay,
Yeah.
let me just continue where I really share my screen again. Oh, sorry for the breaking transition. Okay, so it gives you that control of when you want to work. Like for a nursing mom, you can actually you can even have your children with you and still work, depending on how your plan is. Okay, so next one. So why freelancing? I'm talking about freelancing because we're talking about diversification, and it helps you work at your convenient time, flexible work hours, exposure to multiple working experiences. That is one thing I know about freelancing. You see a whole lot of things you've not done before. You want to learn them. You can actually or master them or want to have them on your profile as something you have done. Freelancing gives you the opportunity for such multiple working experiences. From where I was coming from, everything I did was one particular way. But now as a freelancer, I have a lot more diverse experience than what I previously had. So you can also decide to be active for a period. Now, for example, if I am involved in a project, let me give you an example. I do non-profit projects. And I could do that for 6 months, and I could be so engrossed in those projects. So freelancing gives me the opportunity to pause my job for a while and project and come back. So sometimes freelancing gives you the opportunity to decide active and inactive periods to engage in other things.
Sorry, Auntie Chama, just a minute. It looks like you are fast. Can you slow down? I know you talk very fast.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Should I go back to anything? Is there something anyone missed?
No, you can continue, but just please be a little slower. Thank you.
Okay. So there's a list of companies that provide freelance platforms. Because I'm in Nigeria and a lot of my the registrant for this webinar are Nigerians, I will also list freelance platforms that are actually around us here in Nigeria, even though personally I've not really worked with them. So on the global platform, I'll mention some of them, some very popular names. Some Upwork, Fiverr, Freelancer, TopTal, LinkedIn, Simply Hired, Guru, FlexJob, 99 Design, People Per Hour. I'll come back and talk about them, but let me just list the Nigerian ones. Joe Lancer, Asuko, Find Worker. You could see their web pages or their logo on my screen also. Gigs Nigeria and Free City. You could start from the local one to start building your skills. You could start from local ones. Now, I want to talk about some of these freelance platforms before I move again. Now, about maybe 6 years ago, I heard about freelancing and I thought I should try out freelancing. I was still doing my 8 to 4 p.m. job. So I wanted to just do part-time. So I joined freelancer. That's the third one on the list. I joined. I tried a few proposal. I think I got only one job then. And after that job, I didn't do anyone again. Because I was just focused on my normal 8 to 4 p.m. work. I think at that time also, I also tried to join Fiverr, but I wasn't active. So I understand a little bit of how they work, but not that much. A lot has changed. So I cannot say so much about, I know how freelance Fiverr works because I've actually paid someone to do something for me on Fiverr. So I know a little bit of how Fiverr works. So, but for Upwork is where I have most of my experience. And sometime about almost two years ago, yes, when I became NEF ambassador for Nigeria, I wanted to focus on some non-profit projects in my community. So I thought I should go off my normal 8 to 4 p.m. work for a few number of years and come back. So a few months after I went off my normal 8 to 4 p.m. work, I felt I needed funds enough because I felt the money that was coming in was too small. So I said, okay, let me just go back to freelancing again. Maybe I should just spend a few hours a day freelancing. So that's when I went back to Upwork. Now, when I went back to Upwork, initially I was not accepted. I later got to know why, but after some months, my brother, who was also on Upwork that time, told me what to do. So I got back into Upwork. And though I didn't get job immediately, it took me a few months because I wasn't also consistent. I'll just go try. It was until last year, middle of last year, that I became very active on Upwork. So I guess you can see where I'm coming from in terms of freelancing. So that's my experience with Upwork. I'm still going to talk about a little bit more of my experience with Upwork. Most of it I share with you is my experience with Upwork, Fiverr, or maybe freelancer. Now, another freelance platform I have a little experience with is TopTal. Now, TopTal is one of the best freelancing platform in the world. If I think initially when I wanted to apply for TopTal, I was scared, and I heard I tried their because they take you through a lot of tests and challenges. So when I tried TopTal, in fact, actually failed it, but not just recently, I tried it and I failed there because I couldn't meet up with the time, about 90 minutes. It's really tough. They on their website, they say they pick only 3% of the best top talents. And if you can win TopTal, you can win any global company because they make you do a lot of rigorous tests before you can join them. And I'm still going to try that test because I really want to get to that point where I'm really good at what I do. And TopTal pays the best amongst most of the freelance platform. I think the least they pay for developers is at $60 per hour. The least they pay. And even I was surprised, they even pay accounting and business inclined freelancers much higher than developers, but you must be really good and certified. So that's for TopTal. They are really good. You can actually check them out. You can just check these names and just Google them and try them out. And sometimes you can even just check them just to test what you can do. You understand? Even my time in Upwork has actually made me know how much I know, where I need to improve, and skills I need to get. So some of these things are just even beyond your earning. It's also about improving yourself. Are we together?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So now, skills, I want to list a few skills. These are not all the skills. Actually, if I'm able to go to the website, you could see a whole lot, but I'm also going to talk about the groupings, the skills there. Now there's graphics and design. Upper course is design and creatives. There's digital sales and marketing. There's writing and translation. There's video animation. There's normal video for animation for business. There's one for cartooning, for filming, all kind of animation, character animation, illustration, art illustration, 2D animation, 3D animation. They are all on these platforms. Programming and tech, whether it's app development, web development.
Looks like she froze again. I guess she'll come back. Let me communicate with her.
Sorry, I don't know why this, it just goes off and come on its own, come back on its own.
It's okay, we understand the technology situation we have in Nigeria.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Okay, so I was talking about brands, people who are business, who help businesses. They also have people who are.
Sorry, can you share your slides again?
Yes, just
okay.
remember. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we have tutorial to those who tutor. Like one of the website, the sites are show like people per hour. You see a lot of tutors on the freelance platform called People Per Hour. You'll also see them on Fiverr, people who tutor or who have tutorial videos too. They will have lifestyle, people who teach you, who can coach you on fitness, meditation, coaching, life coaches, so many other things that has to do with lifestyle. Then even cooking, yes, even cooking. Yes. Then you could see people in the category of music and audio, people voiceover artists, people who help you create music, keyboard sound for your cartoon or for your game or for your song. You have composers, you have sound engineers, you have a whole.
Please, let's be patient. I guess she'll be back again. Sorry about it. So I will be sharing the slides so she can join on her phone, and then she can present on the phone. Yeah. So please give us a few seconds while she joins again.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I think I stopped at skills that can be freelanced.
Yeah.
Okay, so I started talking about finance, those in finance and accounting, and legal too. Those lawyers help people prepare legal documents for their companies, for their products, and all kinds of products, software, all kind of business legal documents can be prepared also on freelance. So if you're a lawyer, you can actually have your spare time to freelance your skills globally. Then we have people who are also HR. Maybe you are trained to be a human resource personnel. You can actually also freelance your skills, or you have training skills. You have several skills you can train people on. Maybe you do it locally and you want to also take it globally. You can actually present your certifications and train people anywhere in the world. We also have engineering, architecture, computer-aided design, people who build structures. When you want a design for a house, you do a house design, structural designs. You could also freelance your skills. Now, I divided the skills into no skills, low skills, and high skills. Now, in freelance world, there are no skill, low skill, and high skill job. So it gives everyone the chance to freelance. But that said, most low skill jobs are very competitive, very, very competitive. This is the large number of no skill and low skill freelancers. Now, what I'm saying, for example, they are just like data entry jobs. There are so many people. Do you know that if someone posts a job on data entry, give it 10 minutes, you will see like 50% have applied for it. As in, there's so many freelancers that are out there with no skill or low skill. Some are actually lower than that, but that shows that everyone has a opportunity to freelance, but you are better off when you have a higher skill at your disposal. So an example of a no skill job is like voiceover, data entry, translation. Now I could actually add typing to it, our virtual assistant, but I also feel you need to be organized in terms of, let me move to the next slide. You need to be organized, you need to be good with handling details, you need to be good with your English, at least some level of education for things like copywriting, virtual assistants, you understand? It's not just, you're not completely off on a low skill level. Digital marketing, you need to know how to read, interact. So it don't require so much skill, but you need to know how to sell. You need to be persistent and all that. So testing of apps, so you need to know how to download apps, know how to use a digital device. WordPress too is like a CMS that's already made, but sometimes you need to know how to set up. You need to know how it works. Then simple web design and tutoring too. Then examples of high skill, yeah. Complex software projects, art and illustrations, video animation, accounts, bookkeeping, game development, 3D modeling, data analysts, and system administrators, so on. The list could go on. So, but I want to just quickly mention a few skills that you might not need a laptop. You might just simply require a phone to do, like writing. Now, I've met people who write on their phone and they write well, as in they can just type a whole paragraph on their phone and they write a lot. So, and they don't have a computer. So if you are good at writing, you can actually use your phone to write. So there are people who are looking for writers to write stories. And I watched the video of someone who earns almost $400,000 per annum just writing stories. And she just loves writing stories about dogs. Though she has other stories, but most of her stories are about dogs. So you could see that skill of writing helped her, but and she doesn't really, of course, at some point she'll get a laptop, but with her phone, she can actually do that. Social media content, social media account management. Now, there are people who want their social media accounts to be managed. You could have a company, you could have a personal brand, and you want your page online to be active. There are people who need people that can manage their social media accounts, that can always update the accounts for them. So people, those kind of things are also posted on these freelance platforms. So you can take advantage. If you're always online, maybe you have enough time and you know how to post, you know how to gist, you know how to engage people, and all you just need to do is to know people. I'll talk about that later. You can also do that to earn money. What about digital marketing? You could help people market their goods. A lot of people are doing that now, affiliate marketing. You could actually do it digitally and help people spread their goods all over the internet. So content creations, there's so many people that have websites, but no content. They need people that will help them write something on their website or on their products and services. So content creation is another one. It's also part of writing, but this mostly is about putting content on people's platforms, website, and media pages. And of course, app testing. So you could actually test apps for people with your mobile app. So your phone can actually work for you. Then I want to talk about skills that require certification. Now, something like copyright editing, you might need an English certification. I know two people that currently do something similar here in Nigeria. They earn very well, but they have to be certified. Even at some point, a company let them go because they were not native English, but some other company took them in because they are certified English. They have passed their English exams. So you might need an English certification. For financial accounting and bookkeeping, you might need, in fact, you actually need for accounting. Bookkeeping, you might need proofs that you have done similar before. You have to show proof. Then for you to create legal documents, you have to show that you have the legal knowledge and legal certification to do that. You understand? Then there are certain kind of system administration jobs on servers, like Red Hat. For to do any Red Hat job or some kind of Linux system administration that's under the tech world or cloud computing, you need to be certified. Some clients will demand if you have an AWS certification, that's Amazon Web Services. They'll ask you to just provide one certification or the other before they will allow you to touch their server. They want to be sure you can handle their server well and things will not go wrong. Now, of course, HR too and project management. So people want to know if you are trained, if you have the experience in these things. And certain kind of tutoring also require you to present certifications. So now, how do you get started? First of all, you have to decide which skill or service you want to sell. You have to decide. Please don't think you can do everything. When you get there, you realize you cannot. There's so many things you can do. And I realize that if a client finds out that you are doing too many things, they will not trust you. They'll think you are not an expert. You're an expert as nothing. You are a jack of all trades. So they want people who have decided on one thing and they are after those things. So even if you are going to do a little bit of difference, do it around the same kind of work. So if I'm doing web development, I can also do a little bit of DevOps or a little bit of cloud computing. You understand? If I'm doing writing, maybe social media, writing, content creation, I can also do a little bit of writing. It's about the same thing. It's not far away from each other. You understand? So try and decide one thing to sell and build on it. So search out for a platform where you can sell those skills and also look out for best practices. So all these things, if you just Google online, in places like YouTube, you'll be amazed the amount of resources you will get. Yes, the amount of, oh my God, so much resources you can get online. Because I realized that people who do this thing and are successful at it are also looking for ways to sell their skills in places like YouTube and make money. So they have a lot of followers, 500,000, 200,000, 1 million, you understand? So you see them selling their skills and sometimes having tutorials or planned trainings for such skills. So If your skill requires training, get one on an e-learning platform, like I just mentioned. Even on Udemy too, you can also see those things. Coursera, you can get a course on Udemy at less than 5,000 naira. Coursera has a lot of free courses, too. Now, if possible, get a mentor. Now, just to add to this mentor part, if you can get someone you can work for or learn, let me give an example. If you apply for a content management, social media job or content creator job, you have to show somebody what you have done previously. So you can volunteer for a mentor or volunteer for a company and say, I can help you write your content for your website every two weeks or every month. I'm going to be writing for your website. And by the time I get my, I go on Upwork, I go on Fiverr, or I go somewhere, Simply Learn, or I go to any of these platforms, I can comfortably and confidently post the links of what I have done in those spaces. These are something that's gotten me some of the jobs I've gotten on Upwork. You understand? So you can actually get mentor and find a way to use those skills. You can even do it for free. Maybe I will write this, I will do this, I will manage your social media. In fact, you can manage the social media handle of even a small organization that's just coming. I will help you build followership. And you just dedicate yourself, making sure they build followership. Do you understand? And before you know, you are building, just realize how powerful this is your skills, because you learn better when you practice. And the more you practice, the better you are good at what you're doing. Then also register for these platforms. So register. I can tell you, when you register, you don't get jobs easily like that. It's not so easy as you think. It took me months before I got my first job. Okay, some people, I've only seen anybody that got it so easily, really. I saw maybe they had a very powerful profile somewhere. I had to do a lot of work on my profile and maybe share things I have done previously to convince a client to accept my proposal, because there are a lot of proposals out there. So after this, register there. You can just simply go to their website and register. So how to get jobs and sustain them? Have some work on platform that clients can see. For example, like what I just mentioned, like writing. If you're a writer, you can write on places like Medium, Blogger, several, even on your social media page. If you write there, and you can share those links on when you apply with proposals. Then try to take jobs that you can do. Please try and take jobs you can do. I've made a mistake that I thought I could do a job, but it was similar to what I had done. And the client wanted it in like 2 hours or 3 hours. And that was too much rush. You understand? So just try and avoid problem clients, because sometimes you cannot predict some clients. Then try to be consistent. Try to, in terms of your pricing and what you want to do, don't just jump from one thing to another. Then keep building and improving on your skills and your profile. And one thing I want to add is that on some of these successful freelancers, they have web pages and YouTube channels you can also follow and learn from them. So cashing out, I'll just give an example here in Nigeria, and there are several ways to cash out. My favorite is Payoneer. Payoneer is one great way to cash out. Of course, PayPal also does that. Actually, Fiverr uses PayPal a lot. I realized it's hard for freelancers to get paid on Fiverr, if not PayPal, especially for Nigeria. But for places like Upwork, can pay. Payoneer also works a lot. That's the best, because you get exactly the value or the currency you want to get. Direct to bank is also another option, but the conversion rate is low. So supposing that the conversion rate in the market is 400, here on Upwork you might get it for 300. So the difference is quite much. Then you can also get it if you have a dollar account elsewhere. It can also be transferred to you also. So that's that. So feel free to ask questions and anything I think I can provide, I'll share with you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Auntie Choma. We're really grateful for the presentation.
Thank you.
And okay, somebody had a question. So the question was, how can you present your profile on LinkedIn to attract jobs? So like, how do you package your profile so that you can get all these offers you are talking about?
Okay. Okay. First of all, I think there's a whole lot of a lot of things to do with LinkedIn, but I think it also has to do with your network. What I want to advise is join communities, online communities that gives you access to all expertise and people who are relevant and who have good profiles too. So when you're connected with them and what you wrote on your profile, your skill set, your education, if those things are clear, they make it easy for, and also post that you are open to jobs and list out the skill sets you want to be identified with. Maybe you want to be identified for cloud computing. List it out there, because when recruiters are searching, that is those keywords they look for. You understand? Then put your certifications, your experiences on your profile too, so that when they come and see your profile, when your name pops out because of the keyword on your profile, they can also see those things you have achieved on your profile.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, we're going to move on to the next presentation. We have Uncle Dakwa, who is going to be presenting on upskilling and certifications. So just a little bit of background on him. He is a certified automation professional with 19 years of cumulative experience as an electronics technician, field service engineer, project manager, technical sales engineer, strategic account manager in the sub-Saharan Africa region, and a technology consultant with a deep technical sales and business development competency. He has also designed and developed and deployed automation, industrial Internet of Things, and data analytics solution for many industries in Central and Sub-Saharan Africa, including oil and gas, food and beverages, fast-moving consumer goods, pharmaceuticals, mining and cement. And then he presently works at Rockwell Automation as a technological consultant. And he's very passionate about automation education and the development of competence in industrial automation. He's a senior member of the International Society for Automation, presently serving as the Nigerian section president. He's also a member of the Institute for Electrical and Electronics Engineering. So without further ado, Uncle Dakpo, the stage is yours.
So good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, so thanks for the opportunity to have this discussion. So I'm an engineer and a very proud engineer for that matter. That's all I ever wanted to be. The profession that has been my intent from childhood. And I'm privileged, I feel privileged to practice as an engineer. I have just 4 slides here, and the discussion we have of upskilling and certifications is quite wide, and I'm sure that it's going to generate quite a few questions, which we can pass across to the organizers, and we can have further engagements, whether via email or via other means as they deem fit. So I'm just going to quickly go through 4 things: continuous professional development, the foundations, remote work, and then on-site, just essentially the difference between the two. So the World Economic Forum, they listed 10 top skills that will be in very high demand by 2025. There are many reports concern. I mean, they take a look at the future, right? 2025, 2030, 2040, right? I mean, the document from which I took this is about 200 pages document. I mean, I just downloaded it and I skimmed through. But what jumped out to me are these 10 skills, right? And for whatever role you want to take, whatever discipline you are in, right? All of these are a common factor. Analytical thinking and innovation, active learning and learning strategies, complex problem solving, critical thinking and analysis, creativity, originality and initiative, leadership and social influence, technology use, monitoring and control, technology design and programming, resilience, stress tolerance and flexibility, then reasoning, problem solving and ideation. And looking at this list, one of the things that jump out is if you develop these skills, these are skills that are difficult for automation, to take over. Many jobs, you're going to lose them to automation, many menial jobs. I do tell people, for example, the ministries we have in Nigeria, a lot of things will change. Definitely a lot of things will change. The papers will disappear. We're going to go into computing, and a lot of people will be rendered redundant, right, because of these skills. But for what we have on the screen here, these 10 skills, it's very difficult. The development in artificial intelligence is not yet advanced, right, to give us, the way a human agent, will use these skills. We don't have the artificial intelligence technology that can do that. Right. So for upskilling, to upskill or to attain any kind of certifications, of course, there are so many certifications out there. It's important one choose carefully where you invest money, because these certifications cost money, right? If you want to do a certification, you have to ensure that it is internationally relevant, or at least sizably a number of countries, major countries approves it, right? So some of the foundations, you can have your degree or diploma from the Polytechnic or the university. You probably have a technical education, and then certifications and licensure, right? All of these are the foundations. But then, even if there is no schooling at all, right, there are routes you can take to get into the industry. For example, McKinsey recently announced, one of the top consulting firms globally, recently announced that they are not going to use the degree strictly as a basis for employment anymore. Google has done the same thing. I'm not sure. I think Apple has done the same thing. So quite a lot of these major organizations, they are focusing on trainings that anybody can take, irrespective of your background, whether you studied Yoruba language or French language or social studies or education or anything, right? If you have the right motivation, right, to go through this, then you can develop a skill in a specific niche, right, that will be useful for your target organization. And in addition to the academic qualifications, the interpersonal skills are very essential, because opportunities will definitely come through humans, right? Quite a lot of people say, well, this is the way I am. I don't talk to people. I am an introvert. I am this and that. But you realize that you effectively shut yourself up when you don't have these interpersonal skills, when you don't have communication skills, problem solving skills, creativity, proactivity, etc. Right? Out there is massive competition, right? And employers are looking for people that can demonstrate initiative, people that can hit the ground running, right? And then there is a continuous professional development. Now, CPD in engineering, particularly if you belong to professional associations like I do, ISA, for example, there is a form devoted to the members, right? From day one that you join, you can begin to document all your experiences, your major projects, your achievements, and everything on the job. And then every 3 years, there is a review, right? And then they point you to where to develop and all of those things. For many of us, the starting point in upskilling, I mean, it's not just to jump into any certification, right? That's why I didn't mention any certification in this slide. I know we expect to hear that. But the first step is for you to conduct for yourself or get someone to do it, a skills audit. A skills audit, right? For example, in the International Society for Automation, we have what we call the engineer's technical competency model. And it's a model that lists out everything someone that calls himself an automation engineer should know, right? And if you have such a model, or even if you don't have such a model, if you look at the target industry you want to get into, right? And then you generate all the requirements. And how do you generate these requirements? Just subscribe to jobs on LinkedIn for those kind of posts. For example, if you want to do software engineering or you want to do control engineering, just go to your LinkedIn, whether you are premium or not, and then go to the jobs, subscribe for it. LinkedIn will be sending you jobs, excuse me, periodically. And whenever every job comes, just take a look at the requirements for that job. You might not be ready to apply, but if you look at the requirements for that job, right, and you properly document it, over time, you will see a pattern. And you're going to recognize that for this kind of role, it looks like this is what the industry is demanding for, right? And then the next thing will now be based on your, depend on your discipline, whether you'll be disciplined enough or motivated enough to go learn and position yourself to be able to claim such competencies for future opportunities, right? So CPD, continuous professional development, is an ongoing process of developing, maintaining, and documenting your professional skills. That's why for we professionals, your LinkedIn profile is your organic resume. For everything you do, you need to update your profile, because if there's going to be a search for a role, I mean, personally, I've got iterated on for so many roles that I have turned down, because once they see this, they're doing a search or they're trying to recruit someone, and then your name will be one of the top names, right, that will pop up, and then the recruiter will come into your box. Oftentimes, I'll have them, look, I'm happy with what I'm doing, but if I see a good package, I'm willing to consider it. And then they will send me a budget for the role. I mean, you can imagine when the HR is sending you a budget that for this role, we are looking at so and so amount, and these are the benefits. So you already know what they have in mind. And even before applying, you can decide whether, hey, I want to take it or I don't want to take it, right? And that's what your LinkedIn will do for you. And that's why you need to set up a continuous professional development program for yourself, right? It's ideal to have a futuristic CV, right? So in looking forward to your next opportunity, right? What I do, I have two CVs. My personal, I mean, the one that I can shoot out immediately now, and the one that I am growing into by the day, right? All the lists and competencies that I desire to have, they are listed on that CV, right? And every day, I personally, I am a continuous learner. I call myself a lifelong learner. I am always taking one course or the other on Udemy or Coursera. I have what does Coursera cost it? I pay $400 every year, and I have access to all their courses. So I take courses as time permits, right? So as I develop these capabilities, I update my CV, right? And then I look for opportunities to use them so that I can document it that, hey, I have this skill obtained from so-and-so place, and I have used it in this place. I mean, it enriches your profile, right? Before I leave continuous professional development, I was mentioning earlier that you need to do a skills audit, right? And what the skills audit will involve is that, number one, you need to determine where you are, right? And then you need to determine where you want to go. The field you want to go, professional services, IT, OT, operational technology, engineering, sales, even blogging, right? You need to have that definition upfront. And then you understand the gap between where you are and where you want to go. Once you understand that gap, it's easy to create what we call a learning map. You create a learning map for yourself, right? Depending on the time available to you. It could be 6 months, 1 year, or it could even be 3 months, right? And you put in the hours. One of the things I encourage my young friends is that, fantastic, we all went to university in Nigeria, right? And we know that you don't have to be the most brilliant guy to come out with a 2-1, right? You just need to know the psychology of lecturers, try to accurately get, I mean, of course, there are a lot of fantastic guys that deserve their degree. But if you really want to understand what learning, higher learning is all about, go and take a specialization course on Coursera. When Coursera tells you that this course is 8 hours a week, that's what you require. If all you have done in your life is to study in a Nigerian institution, my advice would be that you budget 20 hours for that program. Because the level of rigor, right, they put into their courses, right, the way they make you think, the way they generate scenarios, and the way they set the questions, you can be sure that if you are not used to that kind of academic system, it will be difficult for you to say that 8 hours, I'm done. And that is why we see a very high rate of course abandonment on Coursera. There is a data for it, and it's massive. I'm still looking for the data for Nigeria, and I guess that it's going to be a lot. You know, so you create your learning map, right? And then you look at this. For me, before I started paying for Coursera annually, what I do is for anything I want to learn, I first go to YouTube, watch the video. I will immerse myself in it, understand the terminologies, have a very high overview of the concepts, right? So that it will give me a head start. When I was paying for Coursera per month or per course, if you waste time, if you can finish all your course in 1 month, then you just pay for 1 month and you get your certificate. But for some people, in fact, I have spent over 3 or 4 months on a particular course, and I was paying every month for it. And you know, so once I go to YouTube and I do that immersion, it's always easier when I get into Coursera and then I go through it. Most of the times I just go to Coursera so that the qualification could be documented. Right. So for your skills audits, determine where you are, determine where you want to be, right? The industry you want to be, how high you want to be there, right? And then create a learning map for yourself, right? And then begin to take down every component of your learning map, right? Remote work essentially are work activities you could do from home without reporting to a physical office, right? While on site are those activities that, I mean, they are generally organized around a physical office. On site, most of the professional services, architecture, engineering, medicine, nursing, etc., right? You are required to, although there are variations also where you don't do remote and all of those things, right? But to get into professional services, for many people, it might be too late, depending on where you are in life, right? But never say never, right? Because these professional services, they have a requirement for a very solid background, right? And then from that background, so like saying that, of course, the pre-university education, and then you have the university education, probably a master's on it, and then certifications to push you into specific places in the industry. All right. For the remote work, for me personally, every work I'm going to do, one of the things the way I evaluate it is it a low-hanging fruit? If it's a low-hanging fruit, I avoid it as much as possible. The reason is low-hanging fruits are highly competitive activities. So for example, if you have a mango tree, right? The mangoes that are reachable at the hand, I mean, with your hand, without having to climb, without having to throw sticks or use a sling or something, right? Those are the ones that first disappears, right? And you now see on the floor, many half-eaten mangoes, right? But the most beautiful mango is always somewhere high up there. And it will require you to climb the tree, get a long stick, or probably target throwing sticks so that you can eat it. So those are the kind of opportunities I go for. It has to be specialized. It has to, it has to have, there is always an element of competition, but then not the mass market kind of competition, right? Just like the previous speaker mentioned, the data entry jobs, right? I would never go near that, right? So remote work is generally organized around computing. And under computing, we have so many things. Programming is one of that, right? I mean, quite a lot of people say they can't program, but I say that if you can think, you can program, right? Because programming essentially is logic, right? Web design, becoming a full stack developer, all of those things, right? And on Coursera or Udacity, right? Or even Udemy, there are specific courses that you can take over 30, 40 hours, right? That can give you a head start in any of these line of work you might desire to pursue, right? Translations, right? In our own economy in Nigeria, I know a guy that all he does for a living is to talk. And what does he do? The Chinese are not interested in learning English, neither are they interested in learning Yoruba or whatever. He only travels with them wherever they go to. And whenever they are talking, he is doing the interpretation. And that is what he's living on. And he's living a very fantastic life. Wherever the Chinese eats, that's where he eats. Wherever they are, that's where he is, right? So translations, right? And you have opportunities to learn languages. For example, I'm sharpening my French skills, right? And I'm using the Duolingo app for that. And there are so many languages on Duolingo that you can begin to learn, right? Depending on your interest again. Blogging, right? Blogging is another line of activities, essentially, even though the turnaround time could be a bit long. I mean, before you begin to get revenue from your blogging or vlogging activities, it might take time, right? Then we have the social media services, we have data entry and all of those other activities that you could set up your computer in a private place, have a good internet access, and then you're at work, right? So those are generally what the categories for remote work and on-site work. So, I mean, for self-development opportunities, I've mentioned these platforms before. If you're a professional, you need to align, right, with your industry association, right? I put these two here under professional associations because that's what I do. I am an engineer. I'm a member of International Society for Automation and then Institute for Electrical Electronics Engineering. And I can tell you, I've been a member of ISA for over 15 years. And ISA gave wings to my career. And let me just tell you that they used to have a mailing list in those days, probably 15 years ago, right? And on this mailing list, I, as a very junior engineer, and then engineers across the world, there is a guy, Walter Drager. I will never forget that guy. He was retired at that time. He had about 40 years experience in engineering, industrial automation. Every question you ask, he will write almost like a thesis on it. So I always, all the questions I have, I throw it into that mailing list, and then it will take his time, he will respond. I read other people's questions, I read the responses. And before I even got into the field, before I got the opportunity to work in the field, I already knew quite a lot of things in my mind, right? And the same thing with Institute of Electrical Electronic Engineers. They have a fantastic database called the Inspect database. Lots of technical papers which you have access to as a member. And these professional associations cut across many industries, for accounting, for medicine, for philosophy, for language, and so on and so forth, right? And then we have the online MOOCs, right? We have the popular one, again, the ones I use, Coursera, right? Coursera is biased towards science and engineering. I think same thing with Udacity. Udacity has what they call the nano degrees, right? Coursera has what they call specializations, right? Then there's Data Camp also for coding. YouTube is a fantastic resource. There is almost nothing you're looking for that's not on YouTube, or that there is no explainer video on YouTube, right? And of course, so many blogs, specialized and focused blogs all over the internet that you can take advantage of also, right? I think this is the last. So thank you for your time. I'll be happy to take any question that you have. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Uncle Dakbo, for that presentation. That was very enlightening and insightful. So we're going to take questions. There's going to be a Q&A session after all the presentations. So we'll take all your questions then, because we'll have a panel discussion. So we're moving on to the next presentation, which is going to be Uncle Philip Boluwatife. And he's a data analyst and virtual assistant currently volunteering at Imani International. And he was recently inducted to the ALX Virtual Assistant Room Fellowship. So, Uncle Philip, over to you.
We can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself? Yeah, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right. Good day, everyone. Just as my name is Philip Oshinake Boluwatife, and I'll just be going through the virtual assistant, what it entails, and everything that virtual assistant entails, and also what data analytics actually entails. Okay, so but then let me give a background view towards what geared me to learn data analytics and towards taking the virtual assistant course, basically. 2020 was actually a defining year for me because of the whole corona period and everything. So there was this where I was kicked without doing anything. There was no work for me to do, and I was not earning anything. So I was like, okay, sitting down at home won't make me achieve much. What do I have to do? And I met a couple of friends who had actually started learning online skills. I had a bit of online skills. I had a couple of online skills prior to that time, but then I was not making money. I was not making anything like that as of that period. So I had to sit down with them and ask questions. And one of the things that they told me that was a defining moment for me was you have to choose what you can do best. Sit down and think about what you can do best, what you won't struggle to do, basically. So, okay, fine. I had to now sit down and
Philip, sorry, you are breaking.
started thinking about so many things. Coding, I learned basically quite a number, and it wasn't working. Oh, sorry, can you hear me very well now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you a bit now. Maybe if you continue, if you continue to break, I will let you know so that maybe you can go out and join again. Okay, so please let's give him a few minutes. I think he would have to join the meeting again so that we can hear him. Just give us a few minutes, please.
All right, I think it's from the network. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Yeah.
So around that period, after taking so many courses and everything, I realized that I wasn't finding them fun. I wasn't at them, and okay, fine. I had to sit down and think about what I could do. And that moment, I got a call from a brother who asked me if I was interested in learning about in working as a volunteer for Imani International, which happened to be a data analytics company. And I was like, wow, that is very awesome. That is the opportunity I've been looking for. Something I can actually learn, a soft skill I can actually work with and learn, and also volunteer for the organization. And so it came up. I went through an interview with Imani, and okay, I got the job. It was actually supposed to be an internship. You learn a bit, then you start working. And okay, so that will take me to explaining what data analytics actually generally is about. Just as the name implies, data analytics involves gathering and interpreting data and analyzing it to solve a specific problem, basically. And so when I volunteered for the organization, basically, one of the things that they told me I was going to do was to source for data. That time I was supposed to be the Bauchi State coordinator. So I was going to source data within Bauchi State to solve to bring a solution to the security challenges. Now, so that's one of the things I'll be talking about. Just as I mentioned that the major reason why people analyze data is to bring a solution to a particular challenge or a particular problem, basically. We looked at Imani looked at the Nigerian atmosphere and realized that we had security challenges, very serious ones. It started with the Northeast and Northwest, and it started spreading across the whole other geopolitical zones in Nigeria. So they were looking at, okay, what could be the challenge? What could be the cause of all these challenges? And what could be the solution? Which was one of the things that made them sought for volunteers at that period. And of course, within the 2 years I've been there, we have really done a lot. We've done a lot. We've been able to get some data. We've been able to help with some of the challenges. Yeah, we've been able to do our own. We've been able to put our own input challenges. Okay, so I'll be going to the second thing very quickly before the question and answer session virtual assistants. Okay. Okay, so the Emani volunteering actually opened up or paved the way for me to actually gather more knowledge on soft skills basically. So I was really encouraged. I was like, if I could do this, that means I could probably do more. So that was why I decided, okay, fine, I'll look for more soft skills to gather and to gain more knowledge concerning soft skills. And so I learned so many other things. I went into digital marketing, went into affiliate marketing, went into so many things. Before then, I now got to this point of learning about virtual assistant. So I'll be giving a very few impactful definition of what a data analyst, of who a data analyst is basically. Okay, I know many of us might have heard the word EA, executive analyst. So executive assistant. So not virtual analyst, virtual assistant. I mean, we must have heard the word executive assistant or personal assistant before. These are people who work with CEOs. They actually help them in planning their schedules, in getting in arranging their schedules, their calls, arranging travels, organizing emails, and some of those administrative tasks that many of them can't do by themselves, or they don't have time to do by themselves. So that is very similar to what a virtual assistant does also, just that a virtual assistant does it remotely. Unlike the executive or personal assistant that have to be there physically and controlling things physically, a virtual assistant doesn't need to be there. You can do it remotely. You can do it at your house, at your comfort zone. You just have to make sure that you're doing it. So it's a part-time thing. It can be a part-time thing basically. So I'll be talking about the tools that you would basically need and some of the skills that you will need to become a virtual assistant. Just as I mentioned, some of the things that you need to learn doing virtual assistant is how to schedule appointments, how to make phone calls. One of the things that Sister Chuma mentioned while mentioning some of the skills was the fact that you must be versatile you must be good at whatever you're going to be learning. Whatever you're going to be doing, you have to be good at it. So you have to be able to make phone calls, you have to be able to schedule appointments, you have to be able to arrange travels and organize emails and so on and so forth. So some of the apps and tools that we use are Trello. Trello is is a software that is being used to separate projects into categories. For example, this one is a fashion, this one is for leisure, this one is for business. So some of those categories, Trello helps us to separate our projects into those particular categories. While we also have Slack. Slack is used for communication. It's used for communication because many times you cannot always be on phone calls to the with your client. It has to be through Slack, and you also might need some help from other virtual assistants. So you might probably just have to create a community via Slack and communicate. Also, we have Zoom and we have Google Workspace. We have Todoist and so on and so forth. Okay, I forgot to also add some important skills that you might need as a data analyst. Now let me go back to the data analyst because of my time. Some of the important skills that you might need. I know that many of us might want to Google search and want to learn about data analytics right now. But some of the important skills you might think of, you might really need to have. First check into yourself. Will I be able to do this? Will I be able to work on these skills? If you can't, I would advise you don't even go for it, but then just look into it. One is data cleaning and preparation. You have to have interest in cleaning data. Of course, some of it are not really, it must not be you having everything. I'm just mentioning these skills because they are very important skills, but then it's not always like you must have all the skills. You can actually leverage on other people's other data analysts and work alongside them to get your work done. So one of it is data and data cleaning and preparation. One of it is data analysis and exploration. One of it is statistical knowledge. Of course, you have to have a knowledge of statistics. If you go to Google, you find out that if you search how many people are in how many people live in Nigeria or reside in Nigeria, there's a statistical breakdown that is being given. That is because someone had a knowledge of statistics and was able to impute it into the system. Also, you have to have you have to be creative at visualization. Yeah, you have to be creative. Like you have to be able to create pictures, create visuals. Yeah, basically visuals that will help people to understand, because people actually get bored when it is only words and text basically. But then when it is inclusive of pictures and some of those things that they can relate with and they can find fun, it won't be too boring. And so if you must actually have that also in mind. You must also be able to create dashboards and reports. You have to have good writing and communication skills. Very, very important. Writing and communication skills. And you must also have a very sound knowledge of your domain. For example, while I was volunteering, I was asked to get some information about Bauchi State. And I remember that was when I started making research about how many local governments we had in Bauchi. Funny enough, I had lived in Bauchi for 4 years around that time, and yet I didn't have all those prior information before. But then the job itself made me to make researches. It helped me to be able to gather prior knowledge, prior information, to have a knowledge of my domain, of where I was staying. So I was able to know how many local government Bauchi had. I was able to know some institutions in Bauchi State. And so that's one of the things that you must also have in mind, basically. So I think because of my time, I'll just go into how we can leverage the opportunities. Are there ways we can, how to become a data analyst, how to become a virtual assistant? Are there things that you must do? Are there trainings you must go through? Of course, if you go online, I think Uncle Dapo and Auntie Choma had already shared some of these platforms for us already. Udemy is there, Coursera is there. There's Google Skills, Google Digital Skills there also. So several of those platforms are there for you to learn some of these skills, and of course you have to actually have it in mind that you would devote your time. These are courses that actually will take much time, especially the data analytics. It takes quite a number of time to gather the knowledge you might need. But of course, the virtual assistant might not really need much time. I think it took me 3-4 months to become a certified virtual assistant. It took me 3 to 4 months, and I have my certificate, and I'm practicing it already now. So I think with that I can open the floor for the questions. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Uncle Philip. That was a really good presentation. We're really grateful for that. So right now, we're going to open the floor for questions. It's going to be a panel discussion where the people that presented are going to be answering any questions that you all have. So I will start with the questions that were put in the chat previously, and then we'll work our way from there. Okay, so one of the first questions was, and this is to Auntie Choma, I think, does Payoneer use black market rates or mid-market rates? Auntie Choma, can you hear me?
Okay, yes. Okay, no, they don't use, the Payoneer does pays you in either dollar or pounds or anyone you want, but basically it's mostly pounds, euro, or dollars. So okay. It is now you that will transfer it to your either your pounds account or your dollar account or your euro account, and know what to do with it. They just pay you normal hard currency rates.
All right. All right. We'll hope that answers
Okay,
them.
but wait, sorry, just to add. There is an option for direct payments from places like Upwork directly to your country. You don't have to. That's not Pioneer now. There's a direct payment, but most of those payments are even below normal official rates.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. I hope that answers that question. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to ask the next question. So this question, I was also wondering about this question. So the question goes like this: if I studied engineering, but I have skills in content creation, how do I support my certification? Like, how do I show that I'm qualified to do content creation if I don't have any previous certifications, if my field of study is different? And this is open to any of the panelists on this discussion. Anybody can answer this question.
Can I? Should I go ahead?
Yes,
I don't think content creation needs certification. What it needs is evidence.
Okay.
Yes, you can actually showcase content you created previously and how it has boosted the platform, the website, or the social media handle that you put those contents in. If it's a content that actually attracted engagement, attracted followership, it means you are good at what you do.
Okay. And so this means that, and what sites, can we upload this kind of evidence on LinkedIn and all the other sites you mentioned? Is that possible? Or do they have to go look for our stuff?
No. Okay, let me talk about first of all, it comes from knowing what content creation is.
Okay.
Supposing you have a social media brand, like maybe, can I give an example of my organization? Let's say Learn by Building Foundation. We have a Facebook page and we have a website. But we hardly release content, maybe that once in 2 months, once in 5 months. There's no content there.
Yeah.
Or on Facebook. But if consistently there are things we give the community, for example, we write about this, write about that, maybe or a company that does Vaseline. You write about Vaseline does healthy skin, how to maintain a good healthy skin health, what works best. If you keep putting content, engaging your
I think you cut out, so can't really hear you, Auntie Choma. Auntie Choma, can you hear me? Okay, let's give Auntie Choma a second to come back, and in the meantime, we're going to be answering some of the other questions. So this one is directed to Uncle Dakpo.
Sorry. Sorry.
Is that yay?
Okay, let me just okay, so I was saying that, so it's the content you create in those places that make you your work valid. I think I'll stop there. Does it make sense?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so the next question is, what platforms can you recommend to get online certifications? Platforms that are more if there are platforms that are more legit than others that people respect more, what platforms can we use to get certifications so that we can improve our resume and be better visible to employers that are looking for employment? And this is directed to Uncle Dapo.
Yeah, so for certifications, like I said, one needs to be very deliberate about it. I'll give you an example. I have a certification. I'm a certified automation professional, right? And I was privileged to be the 5th Nigerian that got the certification, right, many years ago. But before I wrote that exam, I looked at my industry and I saw that a lot of the standards in the industry leans towards America. So if whatever skill that I'm going to get, American approved skills will most likely take priority over even European or let's say Nigerian skill. So that drove me to the ISA. And the certification has opened up. So one needs to be deliberate. It has to come from a place of initial analysis. What certification are you talking about? IT, engineering, right? And then what industry are you looking at? All of these questions need to be answered, right? And then that is when we can now begin to recommend the different whatever. For example, if IEE, I mean, if you are doing anything electronics or electrical, if IEE gives you a course, right, and you wrote an exam, and IEE issues a certificate, it will be respected anywhere globally, right? And there are reputable organizations like that. So I can't answer you specifically, but I can only say that you need to first answer those initial questions before you decide on the certification to take. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. So the next question is going to be, and this is directed to Auntie Choma. So the question says, if you have project management skills and you're certified in project management, which freelance sites would you advise to register with and use?
I'm aware of Upwork.
Upwork.
Upwork has, yes, Upwork has that. I'm not sure of Fiverr, but I think Upwork. I think Fiverr also, but I'm not very sure. But I'm very sure of Upwork. And I will also advise, but there are certain freelance jobs that require you've had experience doing them before. Something like project management, you should have had experience managing projects before you go to places like Upwork.
Okay.
That's yes.
All right.
I think also TopTal too has that.
TopTal.
Yes.
Okay. All right, and this next question is to Uncle Philip. So the job that you're currently doing as a virtual assistant, would you say that it's a stable job that can grow like with time? Like, would you stick with that for a long period of time, or is it something that is just for this season specifically?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So I said I'll state it this way. I wouldn't say it's gonna be a work that I'll stick with basically. But then why not stick with it? I'm gonna be there for long, but then I'm not going to be. It's gonna be a part-time thing. Basically, it's a part-time job. While you're actually doing other things, you're also doing it as a part-time thing. Okay, basically, it's more like if you're more like a freelancer. So just like Sister Choma had mentioned and Uncle Dapo had mentioned, more like a freelancing thing. You get a job, probably a 2-hour job. You do it. You get the job done, and you get another job. You keep on doing stuff like that. Keep on getting jobs. Keep on doing it. So it depends on how much the jobs keep coming. If the jobs keep coming, and I believe that the jobs keep coming. It's not something that will end anytime soon, basically. But then it's a part-time job. Thank you.
I see. Thank you for that response. The next question is, as a beginner, what are some tips to landing your first work? So like, what should you do and what should you not do? How should you present yourself so that you can land a job that pays well? And this is open to anybody on the panel.
Maybe Auntie Chuma.
Yeah, it's Chuma.
Okay. Okay, for your first job, okay, I would advise that go to the website where you want to freelance. Look for top freelancers. Look at how their profile looks like. You realize that there's something special about their profile. Learn from, I'm not saying don't copy their profile, learn from their profile. If they put beautiful bullets, put beautiful bullets. Use good English, persuasive English. Then profiles of things you've done, add it to your profile, your work experiences. You understand? So those are actually one of the best guys actually following people who have succeeded. That's one way. Then another way also is your proposals.
Okay.
Proposals are very, very dicey, and how you put your even gigs. How good your gigs look on Fiverr. Are they very good? Are they catchy? For a newcomer on Fiverr, we advise you start on a low, not too expensive price. Except maybe you have very high quality projects. You can link your prospective clients for them to see. So I've done this, so this I can't go below this price. But for a newcomer, you can start from a low priced proposal or low priced gig. You understand? And start from that. Yes. Then like I said, just learn from people there's a guy called Freelance MVP. He teaches on how to write good proposals, how to get clients to catch their attention. So there are some blogs and some communities. There's a community on Upwork that helps, that mentors people. There's a community on Quora that mentors people. There's also a community on YouTube that mentors people on freelancing.
Okay.
And sorry, I just want to add something that Philip said. Some freelance job end up becoming a consistent job, even though it's part-time. Some clients just like to stick with you. Sometimes it's not like they even give you job every time. Sometimes they can just give you and say they just keep coming back to you because they like what you do. Like I've had a client for almost a year now, if not a year. He just keep coming back. We can stop the project and you just come back again. You understand? So sometimes it could even become long-term depending on the clients in question.
Okay.
Yes.
And so this question is directed to Uncle Dakbo. So you mentioned in order to get into the community more, you need to relate with people and make connections. How do you go about making those connections? Do you do them mostly online, or like how do you meet people in order to make those connections?
So firstly, like I mentioned, you need to have a LinkedIn profile, and it's very courteous when someone make a post, try to read it, try to like it, and maybe ask a question. If you want someone to notice you online, engage. One of the easiest way is for you to engage their post. If I write an article online, I'm looking for people to comment on it. If you comment on it, I'm going to come back to your comment and like it, right? And then thereafter, you can jump into their inbox and probably politely ask for whatever you want or whatever question. I mean, that's a proven icebreaker. I've spoken to MDs of companies this way. That is one. Secondly, there are industry events. If Eventbrite. I'm sorry, there's this app in Lagos. I've forgotten now. Industry events. Okay, so I am in the southwest, so I'm closer to Lagos. But industry events in Abuja and Lagos, they are powerful places to network. For people in engineering, MWA, equipment manufacturing, there is Nigerian energy, there is Nigerian IoT, and all of these things, right? In actual fact, it gives you access to many decision makers because owners of companies attend those events, particularly if they have booths there. And you can hang around their booths, take interest in their product, ask them questions about it because they need to go back to their offices and give a list.
Okay. I think you're cutting off a little bit. Uncle Dakwa, if you could repeat what you said just now, I think you're cutting off a little bit. The network is a little choppy.
Give that list, your phone number, and can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so I said industry events. Most MDs, they attend all of these events, and senior people in the companies, different companies. It's one of the easiest places that you can get cards of these people, the senior sales guys in those organizations, the senior technical guys in those organizations, and if you're lucky, the MD. Those are the two places professionally that you can get access to people you normally will not have access to. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. This next question is for Uncle Philip, and it says, is it better to be under a registered body or to freelance when it comes to being a virtual assistant? From your experience, what are the pros and cons of being under a body or freelancing?
Okay. Basically, I'll put it this way. I would advise that everyone that, okay, you have to go through a training, of course. First of all, you have to go through a training. Using my experience, I was trained on the ALX program, as the African Leadership Experience Program, and 4 months, 3 to 4 months, I had to go through the whole online trainings, the classes and everything. And I wrote, of course, you have to write tests, you have to write exams and everything before you pass, and before you can get if into the room fellowship. Now I think I forgot to mention that earlier. It was one of the things we should have talked about, the room fellowship. Okay, it's actually like a body. It's a body of virtual assistants where everybody comes together and we work together, we train ourselves, we learn what we need to learn, probably some of those things that we didn't learn very well, or probably those things that you were not chance to, you didn't have enough time to learn very well. So we come together and learn some of those things on that platform in the room. And okay, also you have opportunity to leverage on other people's work in the room. And also they also help you to connect with people that probably will need the help of a virtual assistant. That means they connect you to employers that need work, that need virtual assistants. You understand? So basically, from my own point of view, basically there's no way you want to do it. You have to actually freelance. You don't have a choice, you have to freelance. But then I think what helped mine to be faster was to be fast tracked was the fact that I was inducted into this room. So it was easier for me to actually leverage on people's efforts and also get job opportunities. That was also more of a freelancing job, you get.
Yeah.
So you can't but freelance. You can't but freelance, but then you have to actually know how to go about it. You have to be helped on how to go about it. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that answer. And with this, I'll be handing over to my mom to finish up this meeting. If there are any other questions, you can email them to either my mom or the other panelists, and they'll get back to you with the answers. And so, Mommy, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much to all our panelists for the very insightful information that you've shared. And thank you so much, Aure, for hosting this meeting in a very interesting way. Thank you. We will be closing the meeting in the next few minutes, but there are just one or two things I would like to get done before we go. I talked about taking a picture earlier. So if you want to be in this picture, it's just a screenshot of the meeting. Please, can you put on your cameras? And if you are okay with just your name showing, it's also fine. But if you want to show in the picture, please put on your camera so that we can take this picture. I'll just take a few screenshots after the count of 5. Or are we still putting on cameras? Okay, let me give you a few seconds to put on your cameras. Thank you so much to everyone who's putting on their camera. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. So at the count of 5, I will be taking the screenshots. So I've taken like 5 screenshots. Thank you so much. You can put off your cameras if you want to. So the final thing I would like to say is that we will be sending out a follow-up email with the link to the Google survey for you to fill out and tell us if this was helpful or if it wasn't helpful. I don't think it should take more than 6 to 7 minutes of your time. So please help us fill that out. And then some people have been asking about the slides. I have permission from the speakers to share their slides. So I will be sharing the slides in my follow-up email. I will also be sharing a link to the video in that follow-up email. I think I'm going to put it on YouTube, and but it's going to be private for only those who registered for this event, at least for now. If we think we should make it public, or if we get requests to make it public later on, maybe we might make it public. But then at least that you came for this event, you should have some extra benefits. So thank you so very much for coming. And we would also like to say that we have only scratched the surface of what it means to work remotely or leverage technology to diversify your income. The 99.9% of the work that is remaining is going to be done by you. But I hope that the stories and the experiences that have been shared by our speakers will encourage you not to give up and to continue to press in, to continue to work, towards achieving your dreams. And let me just mention that from my experience with people who are working online, I know people who are earning up to $8,000 in a month from working online. I know people earning $1,000 a month from working online. For some of us, that's more than the salary we earn in many months in Nigeria, if I'm correct. So I just want to encourage you, give it a try. Even if it looks hard at first, give it a try. Just give it a try. You never know what will come up at the end of the day. And then I also have permission from the panelists to share their contact information. One of them will be giving me his contact information next week so that I can share it by next week. But I have one of the permission to share one of the email addresses, and I will share to you. I'm going to get the permission from the third speaker to see if I can share his email so that you can contact them and if you have further questions. So with that, we'll bring the meeting to a close. And if you have anything you want to say, maybe a word of greetings or whatever, please, you can put it in the chat very briefly. But officially, this meeting is over. Thank you once again for joining. We're very grateful. And thank you to our wonderful panelists and our very wonderful host, Ore. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. to
You're
see
most
you again.
welcome.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's been quite a while.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Next one.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma.
You're
Thank
most
you.
welcome. Okay, so I will be closing the meeting. Finally, I think we have all the messages coming in. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a wonderful Saturday and a wonderful week ahead. Bye.